Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Julian Speaks. How are you doing today? Well, if you're new here, this podcast is a safe space where we honestly talk about conversations about healing, heartbreak, emotional growth, relationship, self worth, and emotional experiences of people often struggle to talk about openly. And today's topic is something I think many people would underestimate emotionally until they go through it themselves. Our episode is called Friendship Breakups, Part 2. So friendship breakups, because society talks about romantic heartbreak, like but rarely talks about the pain of losing a close friend. And honestly, friendship breakups can be very devastating as well. And sometimes even more painful than romantic ones, I would say, at some point. Because friendships often hold years of memories, emotionally safety, trusts, daily routines, shared struggles, inside jokes, and versions of ourselves that existed during certain chapters of life. And when that connection breaks, it can feel like losing a piece of your emotional home. And today what we're going to talk about is why friendship breakups hurt so deeply, like silent drifting, the betrayal between friendships. That's very common. Unresolved endings, grief after losing close friendships, and how to heal when someone you trusted becomes a stranger. So wherever you are listening right now, everyone, I'd like to thank you. Thank you for being here today. This is an important talk, I would say. And let's do that. Let's talk. Segment 1. Friendship heartbreak is real. For me, I think one of the hardest things about friendship breakups is how invisible the grief can feel. When romantic relationships end, people usually understand the heartbreak. But friendship loss is often minimized. People say things, you'll make new friends. It's not that serious. Like people grow apart. And while those things may sometimes be true, they do not erase the emotional pain. Because friendship can carry deep emotional intimacy too. So some friends know your struggles, your family history, your insecurities, your healing journey. They know your dreams, and they know the parts of you that many people never see. And some friends become your safe space during difficult seasons of life. And when you lose that connection, it creates grief, real grief, especially when the friendships felt permanently to you. Segment 2. The slow drifting apart. Sadly, not every friendship breakup happens dramatically. Sometimes there's no argument, no betrayal, no clear ending, just distance. And honestly, silent drifting can feel incredibly painful because there's often no closure. And one day, you're talking constantly, the next, conversations become shorter. Plans happen less often, replies become delayed, and eventually you realize the connection no longer feels the same. The quiet emotional distance can hurt deeply because nobody officially says like, this friendship is ending. I know, that's very sad to hear. And so many people stay emotionally confused for a long time, and they're wondering like, did I do something wrong? Are they busy, or am I overthinking, or should I try harder? And honestly, Silent endings often create lingering emotional pain because the grieving feels like unfinished, especially when you still care deeply about the person. Segment 3: Betrayal between friends. Alright, this is the most interesting one. Let's talk about the one deepest form of friendship pain: betrayal. Because betrayal from the close friend can completely change how people trust others emotionally, especially when secrets are exposed. Like the loyalty is broken, the boundaries are crossed, or someone who you trusted deeply hurts you unexpectedly. Friend betrayal hurts differently because friendships are usually built on emotional safety. You believe that this person genuinely cares about me or about you, and this person would protect you emotionally. This person knows your heart. So when that trust breaks, it can feel shocking. And the friendship betrayal often creates deep emotional confusion because people don't expect emotional harm from someone they considered like a family. So especially when the friendship lasted years, and one of the hardest parts is realizing that sometimes people the closest to you can still hurt you deeply. That reality changed people. Segment 4: Outgrowing each other. So, as we had a topic from our first friendship episode last time, this is another painful truth about friendship. Sometimes people genuinely love each other but still outgrow each other. And honestly, growth changes relationship more than many people realize. As people evolve emotionally, the values change, priorities change, boundaries change, their lifestyle and emotional needs change. And sometimes one person grows towards healing while another remains emotionally stuck in the old patterns. Sometimes one person wants peace while another one thrives in chaos. And eventually, the friendship no longer feels emotionally aligned. That doesn't always mean someone is bad. Sometimes people are simply becoming two different versions of themselves. But accepting that can still feel heartbreaking for sure, especially when history is involved, because memories make letting go harder. Segment 5: Loneliness after losing friends. I think many people underestimate how lonely friendship breakup can feel, especially in adulthood, because making new friendships as adult is not always easy. And losing someone you spoke to regularly can suddenly leave emotional silence in your life. You'll miss the conversation, the routines, the support, the laughter, and the comfort of being understood. And honestly, some people grieve friendships for years silently because they lost the loss of the changed for them deeply. Especially if the friendship existed during important life chapters. There's also something deeply painful about watching someone who once knew you intimately slowly becoming distant or unfamiliar. And that emotional transition can feel surreal. The social media often makes it worse, as I said, because now people can continue seeing fragments of each other's lives while emotionally disconnected. Like you're no longer part of it. And that visibility can keep grief alive longer. Segment 6. When you realize the friendship was one-sided. We had a topic in here as well from last episode. I'll make it a little bit shorter, but like I'm saying, sometimes friendship breakups are also revealing painful truths. Like realizing that you cared more, you invested more emotionally, like you carried the friendship longer than the other person did. And honestly, that realization can deeply affect self-worth. Especially when you begin noticing that you were the only one reaching out, like you're always checking in, you're the only one. You're trying to fix things, while the other person slowly disconnected without much effort. And I think one of those hardest emotional experiences is realizing that some friendships survived mainly because you kept holding them together. That truly hurts. And that's the truth. Especially when your loyalty was genuine. But healing sometimes requires accepting effort. Accepting effort imbalance instead of continuously chasing people who are no longer emotionally present. Segment 7. Learning to let go people. One of the emotionally mature things that we could learn over this time is that not every friendship is meant to last forever. And honestly, that can feel incredibly sad first. Because we often romanticize lifelong connection at any type of relationship, right? But human beings change constantly. And some people are meant to walk beside us only during specific reasons. That doesn't erase the importance of the friendship. It simply means that the relationship had a chapter instead of a lifetime. And I think healing begins when you stop viewing every friendship ending as personal failure. Because sometimes people drift because life changes. Sometimes because emotionally aligned changes, the alignment. Or sometimes because the healing changes people. And sometimes because the friendships or simply reached its natural ending. And that acceptance can bring peace eventually. Segment 8. Rebuilding trust and connection again. Everyone listen. After friendship heartbreak, many people become guarded emotionally. They struggle trusting new people, opening up fully, believing friendship can feel safe again. And honestly, that fear is understandable because losing people you trusted deeply, it changes you emotionally. But I also believe healing teaches discernment because you begin valuing reciprocity, the emotional safety, the consistency, the boundaries, and genuine support for more intentionally. And eventually, you stop chasing friends that leave you emotionally depleted. Instead, you begin creating a space for healthier connections, opening the new door. Not perfect people, but emotionally safe people. People who genuinely value your presence. And that changes everything. If you are currently grieving a friendship breakup, please know this. Your pain is valid. Friendship heartbreak is real. And losing someone who once felt emotionally safe can hurt deeply. But not every friendship ending means the relationship was meaningless. Some people genuinely matter during certain chapters of your life. And you can appreciate those memories while still accepting that the connection changed. Healing does not require pretending you never cared. And one day, I hope you stop blaming yourself for every friendship that could not continue growing with you. Everyone, thank you very much for spending this time with me today on Jillian Speaks. It was a really nice conversation, a really good topic. It's happening everywhere. It's not just a fiction, it happens for real. And if this episode resonated with you, I'd like you to please share this to someone who may also be grieving for friendship loss or emotional distance right now. Also, if you'd like a deeper reflection about healing, heartbreak, emotional growth, self-worth, or learning to choose yourself again, you can also grab a copy of my book called The Space I Never Gave Myself, and it's now available on Amazon as well for ebook and soon to be on a paperback or a copy printed book. Your support truly means so much to me. Don't forget also to follow Jillian Speaks on Spotify and YouTube and all of my social platforms at When Jillian Speaks. But before we end this episode, just remember your story matters. So if you do have any story like love story, heartbreak, healing journey, or life experiences that you'd like to share, we'd love to hear it. And your story may be featured on our podcast on YouTube and Spotify and could inspire someone else who's still trying to heal or find themselves. So the mechanics on how to send your story can be found on our Facebook and YouTube post or page. And for our listeners in the Philippines, if you are a Filipino selected featured storyteller, will receive some Gcash credit as our little thank you gift. But for now, until next time, as I always say, protect your peace, follow your heart, keep growing this time, and I'll see you in the next episode.